Hello, thank you for joining another one of my videos. I'm Elizabeth Hackford and I'm the Law of Attraction lady. In this video I'm going to be telling you the story about how I lost almost 15 pounds in weight, that's about 7 kilograms, in the space of 7 days. And it's not quite what you think. This story has an interesting twist to it, so stay tuned to the end to find out. So about 3 years ago, I was actually getting a little bit overweight for my height. I was actually at about 65 kilograms. It's because I had been in a very stressful job and I had basically just been putting on weight and not getting enough exercise and the stress was too much. And I quit the job and I couldn't seem to shed the weight, so I decided to do something quite radical. I made an audio recording telling myself that I was at the target weight that I wanted to be, which was 62 kilograms. I made this audio recording and I set it to some background music and some birds twittering, and I listened to it over and over again as I went to sleep, these positive affirmations telling me that I was the weight that I wanted to be. And I literally only listened to these audio recordings every night for about 2 weeks, and I started to take action. What happened is that those recordings reprimed my subconscious to believe that I was the weight that I wanted to be, and things started to shift. In particular, I got the motivation to do what is known as the keto diet. Now, the fact that I went on the keto diet still baffles me, but what had happened is I had programmed my subconscious to do what it took to get that weight off. And I went on the keto diet for 7 days. Now, if you decide to do the keto diet, I strongly recommend you get professional medical advice about how best to do it, because I just researched online and I put my best foot forward and I didn't do it absolutely correctly. I was doing the intermittent fasting. I had my carbohydrate intake right down to less than 70 milligrams a day or something. I went 100% into it, and for 7 days, and I was still going to the office and doing my work, but I was pretty exhausted, and there was one occasion where I thought I was going to have to quit and go home, but I managed to keep it going by eating a piece of cheese. If you don't know the keto diet, basically what you're trying to do is to train your body to go into ketosis so that the liver is processing fat rather than carbohydrates as a fuel to give your body energy. You stop feeding your body with carbohydrates, so it is forced to change to using fat. But one of the problems is that it might start using protein instead of fat, which is not what you want to happen. Anyway, more about that in a moment. So I went on to the keto diet for 7 days during the summer. Work wasn't very stressful and I thought I could do 7 days, and I did. But the point of this story is not about the keto diet, it's the fact that I was inspired and motivated to do what it took to lose those kilos from my body. And I actually, in the space of 7 days, went from 65 kilos right down to 58 kilos. That's a loss of 7 kilos, which is almost a loss of 15 pounds in weight. And I shed it in 7 days. It was unbelievable how the weight just fell off me. But I had squeezed the amount of carbohydrates that were going into my system. And what happens is your body first uses up the carbohydrates that it's stored, and then it moves on to another source of energy, ideally fat, but in some cases protein. So this is the twist of my story. Basically, I lost all that weight. And then when I went back to my normal diet, I found that I only put back on about 3 kilograms. So my weight was 65 down to 58 and back up to 61. So doing the keto diet did have a permanent, long-lasting effect in losing weight. And that was really what I was aiming for, a permanent, long-term solution, so that I didn't just lose weight and gain it all again as soon as I stopped dieting, but that the weight would stay off permanently, and it did. Anyway, about 3 weeks after I'd finished the diet and was feeling very pleased with myself because I was at my target weight, feeling very good, feeling very energetic, I one day was visiting my chiropractor, and he was working on my back, and he just said, completely unsolicited,
"Elizabeth, you seem to have lost a bit of muscle strength in your back."
And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, it just feels a bit looser here. You used to have a bit more muscle." He said, "It's not a big difference,
But it's noticeable.
And so I told him about how I had been on the keto diet, and I deduced that what had happened was that instead of burning fat, my body had started burning protein, which is what happens if you don't do the keto diet properly. So this is the twist. I did lose the weight, But I didn't lose the weight from body fat. I lost it from protein. So I lost the weight permanently, but it probably wasn't really the way that you would want to lose weight. Now, since then, I've built the muscle back up. It wasn't a big deal. And I do think I also permanently lost some fat during that process. But what's really interesting to me is that when you program your subconscious to do something, it will find the path of least resistance to get to that objective. So if you say, I want to have $1 million in my bank account, your subconscious, if it believes that's possible, it will find the most easy path of least resistance to get to that point. Now, certain things are pre-programmed, like you're not going to rob a bank, obviously, but your subconscious will find the easiest way to do it. And in my case, to get to my target weight on a long-term basis, my subconscious came up with this plan to burn protein, which of course I didn't want. So in my affirmations, I probably should have been more specific, but this is the power of affirmations, repriming your subconscious, as it really does deliver, and your subconscious really will bring into effect what your goal is. So, as the expression goes, be careful what you dream of. Now, if you think this method sounds really interesting and you'd like to try it out, you can go to the homepage on my website, thelawofattractionlady.com, and you'll find that there's an audio recording which is designed to reprogram your subconscious to achieve your target weight, and it's on a discounted rate at the moment on the homepage, so please go and check it out, thelawofattractionlady.com. If you want to test how audio recordings works, there's also an audio recording for attracting abundance, which I'm offering to everybody for free, so you can download that one first to see what it's all about, see if it works for you, try it out for 7 days, and if it does, come back and look at the one for achieving your target weight. Well, thank you very much for listening to my video today. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.